Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're decoding what is literally the most epic rescue mission in history. We're talking about an ancient cosmic battle to save a stolen world from a deceptive villain in disguise, and how the original king promised to win it all back.
So, let's dive right into this massive mystery. Imagine for a second that your home, humanity's absolute first home, a perfect Eden, was hijacked. The text tells us our first parents were totally tricked by a fallen adversary. And because they fell for it, control of the earth literally passed right into the hands of this enemy. But God didn't just leave humanity in the dark. No way. He immediately promised a daring rescue operation.
Now, to really grasp this epic story, we've got to introduce our main hero, the deliverer. In these ancient texts, this is the promised rescuer, or Messiah. His specific mission? To break the chains of our bad choices, completely defeat the enemy, and win back that stolen kingdom. This incredible promise was given to Adam and Eve right after they lost their home, giving them a massive ray of hope when they needed it most.
Part 1. A Promise in the Dark.
The very first clue about this rescue mission actually came as an ancient riddle, right there in the book of Genesis. God spoke directly to that deceiving serpent and said, "It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel." The text uses the word enmity, which basically means a deep, epic, ongoing rivalry. It's a profound puzzle, right? It meant the coming deliverer would suffer, his heel would be bruised, but he would ultimately deliver a fatal blow, crushing the enemy's power forever.
The source text highlights an absolutely incredible contrast here. For centuries, the enemy worked overtime to spread this terrible lie, that God was angry, cruel, and just waiting to punish us. But according to the text, God's actual message was that he loves humanity deeply. This entire rescue plan was driven by pure love, offering the Son of God as a gift to pay the penalty for our rebellion and, ultimately, bring us back into the family.
Part 2. Clues of the Coming Deliverer.
This hope was preserved like a precious treasure passed down through generations, from ancient figures like Adam and Noah, all the way down to heroes like Abraham. God actually told Abraham, "In thee shall all families of the earth be blessed." And Abraham, he looked forward to this rescue mission with unbelievable joy. The knowledge of this coming king was kept alive by these faithful families, creating this amazing, straight line of hope right through human history.
Part 3. The Sanctuary's Secret Message.
So to teach these huge concepts to an entire nation, God used an ancient sanctuary, basically a massive, special tent. The daily rituals there weren't just a list of random, boring rules to follow. They were actually a giant 3D object lesson. Every single day, innocent lambs were offered, and they pointed directly forward to the coming rescuer. It taught the people that the deliverer would be a redeemer, a priest, and a king all rolled into one. Plus, it promised that one day, the whole universe would be completely cleaned up from all wrongdoing.
But hey, the enemy wasn't just sitting around letting this happen. According to the source, Satan actually panicked. He diligently studied those ancient parchment rolls and the prophet's messages. He desperately wanted to figure out God's plan, so he could twist the meaning of those 3D object lessons. His goal? To completely blind the people, so that when the Messiah finally did arrive, they wouldn't even recognize him.
Well, despite the enemy's massive cover-up attempt, God's prophets still broke through the darkness. The prophet Isaiah left these bright, bite-sized clues for the people. He wrote that a child would be born, a son given, and he would be called the Prince of Peace. He wasn't going to be some terrifying warlord, but a gentle, peaceful ruler bringing light to people who were literally sitting in the shadow of death.
These clues came together to form a literal prophetic map. They pinpointed the exact location of his birth, Bethlehem. They warned that he would be despised and rejected. And get this, the prophet Daniel provided a literal mathematical countdown. Starting from the command to rebuild Jerusalem in 457 BC, there would be exactly 483 years leading right up to AD 27, which is the exact year Jesus was anointed at his baptism and officially kicked off his rescue mission.
Part 4. The Rescuer Finally Arrives.
Now, if you were expecting a typical king, you'd probably be looking for force, massive wealth, noisy arguments, and huge, intimidating armies. But the text describes Jesus as completely different. He was gentle. He didn't yell in the streets or demand a bunch of applause. He came quietly to heal the brokenhearted, to open the eyes of the blind, and to gently lead his flock. He used love, not force, to win back the people. It was a total game changer.
Part 5. Winning Back the World.
This wasn't your typical battle fought with swords and shields.
Throughout his entire life, from the lonely wilderness of temptation to the agonizing Garden of Gethsemane and finally to the cross, the enemy tried every single trick in the book to make the sinless rescuer do just one thing wrong. Think about it. If Satan could have gotten Jesus to give in to just one temptation, the enemy would have won the whole human family. But he failed. Every single time. He could cause him absolute agony, sure, but he couldn't make him sin.
And that brings us right back to that ancient riddle from Eden. When Jesus hung in absolute agony on the cross, enduring the ultimate penalty for our mistakes, dealing with terrible insults while evil spirits rejoiced, his heel was indeed bruised. He was paying the immense, unbelievable debt for a broken world.
But wait, here is the ultimate plot twist of the entire epic. The text explains that that very act of sacrifice, the bruising of his heel, was the exact blow that crushed the serpent's head. The story claims that by dying and then rising again, Christ completely destroyed the devil's power. He made the plan of salvation forever sure, he threw open the gates of the grave for all his followers, and he officially won back the stolen world. How amazing is that?
Because of this incredibly decisive victory, the source text points out that today, the most needy, the most oppressed, and the most despised among us can find direct, open access to God. For the authors, it proved that all those ancient promises, all those intricate sanctuary clues, and those precise prophetic maps were completely 100% true.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. We've just traced this unbelievable story of a God who meticulously planned the greatest rescue mission in history, perfectly keeping a promise he made thousands of years ago. If you believe he went to such extraordinary lengths to win back the world, how might that change the way you trust his plan for your own life? Right now, today. Think about it.